Moving forward, government, my favorite. Everybody's favorite who listens to What on Earth is Happening, right? Once again, not on the wane, completely on the rise. Trusted more than it ever has been in the history of the world. And I'm telling you, everybody defines their whole identity through what kind of politics they believe in. This is our entire society's identity. And the freedom movement wants to say, oh, people are waking up. They're really, not trusting government and just opening their eyes and seeing how corrupt it is. What planet do you live on? What planet do you live on? The vast majority of people still watching the news, as we're going to talk about, still believe the mainstream media, still believe the government's there to protect them and care for them. So people naively misplace their trust in this institution because they identify with and believe in its ostensible purpose. And the ostensible purpose of government is to maintain critical infrastructure, protect people's lives, rights, and property, punish wrongdoers, preserve justice in our society, and defend freedom from potential enemies, whether they be foreign or domestic. Enemies to freedom. This is what government tells you it's doing. You know? We're going to build and maintain the critical infrastructure of the country, you know? The road system, the transportation system, the communication system, the electrical system, etc. Water, gas, etc. All the necessities of life, right? We're going to protect people's lives, rights, and property. We're not going to take those things. We're not going to subject them and enslave them. We're going to protect your rights. Punish the wrongdoers. Somebody's got to do it, right? All people out, it would turn into a society of cannibals and murderers if not for government, right? Somebody's got to, bring those wrongdoers to justice and defend our freedom from enemies lurking around every corner. I mean, what kind of a smacked ass does someone have to be to actually believe this nonsense? But yet, that's 98% of probably our entire society. I'm going to say minimum number. 95% of society believes that is the ostensible purpose of government. And they're smacked ass clowns. Period. I mean, there's no polite or nice way to say it. They're brainwashed children who never grew up emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Never grew up. Stunted child development. Almost always through what I'm going to talk about here today, which is childhood trauma through a particular type of psychological abuse. I'm going to get into the underlying psychological reasons for this belief, for the trust and belief in these institutions, for believing all of the ostensible purposes of these institutional bodies. So let's look at the true purpose of government if we're being honest with ourselves. Once again, you could lie to yourselves all day if you want, but if we're going to get down to the meat and potatoes of this, if we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, and we're going to really tell ourselves the truth, this is what government is here on the earth to actually do. The true purpose of government is to control and ultimately enslave the people who are its subjects. Government sees itself, the people in government sees itself as a master class of commanders of other people, lawmakers, those who others must obey or be punished for not obeying. And you know what that's called, folks? I don't care what name you want to give it. That's called slavery. You want to euphemize it? You could euphemize it in whatever way your little naive, tiny, broken, and thin-skinned mind, wants to euphemize it as. But if you're a big boy and a big girl, you're going to call government for what it is and stop euphemizing it and saying that it's some other thing. You're going to say exactly what it is, and that's slavery. That's what government is. It's one class of people who are masters, who believe they have the moral right to issue commands to others that they call laws, which are often arbitrary, often conflicting, often different things in different places and different times, which makes them completely morally relative and not in keeping with the moral laws of creation, which do not change with time or location, and are not relative, and are not subjective. The real laws of morality are objective. So that's what government's really doing, folks. If we're being honest with ourselves, it is enslaving humanity. The true purpose of government is to dictate commands called laws to protect its own interests and limit any threat to its continued control. That's what government wants to do. That's its primary purpose. To continue to survive, to continue to grow, and to continue to limit the freedom of others so that any threat that those others may pose to its continuation is limited and or disposed. And that's what laws are for. And that's why there's more and more of them every single day. The third true purpose of government is to conduct abject violence in the name of safety and security, getting the naive children that are its slaves to believe that it's protecting them and keeping them safe. When in fact, all it's really doing is conducting abject violence in other areas to take resources that it wants, or to shut down rights, shut down freedom. And let me tell you something, folks. It's not in here. Police and military are not in this list of the 7 deadly institutions, but they are part of government. Obviously, you have to take note of that. This is what I'm talking about. These are the conductors of the abject violence. These are the people that actually perform it. The order followers. You know, all government is one huge chain of obedience. Up from the order, at the top, the order givers, to all the way at the bottom, the order followers, the police and the military. Order following trash. The dogs of the commanders at the highest end of government, and those who really are the occultists, the dark occultists, who sit enthroned behind, in the shadows, behind ostensible government power. So the people who are really conducting the actual behaviors are the ones who are getting hit karmically the hardest, as the karmic clowns of the controller class at the highest ends of government and the occult. They call them their dogs, their pets, their animals. That's what they call the police and military. And yet they're just all too happy, like a slavering dog, a slavering dog, just, with its tongue hanging out, saliva dripping down. Tell me what to do next, master. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Not to belabor the whole topic of order followers. We've done whole shows on that, but just what kind of a person who even considers themselves a human being, let alone considers themselves men, are going to make their job, make their life. Can you imagine saying, I'm going to make my life just doing the behaviors that other people command me to do? I mean, what kind of a total ass retard do you have to be to think like that? Seriously. How broken does your brain and soul, and most of all your heart, have to be to just say to yourself, what my entire life is going to consist of is, I am going to stop thinking for myself about what's right and wrong, and I'm going to listen to what other people tell me to do as far as my actual behavior is concerned. Could you imagine? And you think you're a man with courage? You're a fucking ignorant child, a ballless, ignorant, coward child. That's what you are. All of them. 100%. All of them. All order followers are that. Ballless, ignorant, child cowards. I'll say it to your fucking face. And people should be saying it to your face.